All right, we have the cue from Foxborough Cable Access. We're live. Welcome, everybody. Good evening. Today is May 3rd. Welcome to Foxborough's Board of Selectmen meeting over at the High School Media Center, one day after the town elections. I will go through the agenda briefly. At 7 o'clock, we have citizens input. At 7:05, we'll do Selectmen's update. At 7:15, we will do the Board of Selectmen reorganization. Followed at 7:30, a discussion and a vote on Monster Jam by NPS LLC. That will be a public hearing. At 7:45, we'll have another discussion and vote on new officers and directors for the Red Robin. At 8 p.m., we'll have a public hearing for Trader Joe's, and then a discussion and a vote of the transfer of license and appointment of a manager.
Thank you, sir.
At 8:10, we're going to have a discussion and vote on a new beer and wine license for the Caldwell Management, Inc., doing business as Hilton Garden Inn. That's also a public hearing. At 8:35, we're going to be visited by the Historical Commission, Paul Godin and Taylor Ford, to discuss and, actually, I don't think it's going to be a vote, but it'll be discuss the Bristol-Boyden Native American Artifact Collection. At 8:45, followed by 8:55, we'll have Town Manager Bill Keegan and Mary Beth Bernard give us our town manager and assistant town manager updates. And we're gonna, at 9:05, discuss the new Board of Selectmen calendar schedule for the upcoming year, and followed by a bunch of action items. So if we could have the Pledge of Allegiance. Mark, would you like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
If I remember it.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
See, it all comes back to you.
It does.
Actually, even before we go to citizens input, I want to get, where it's the day after the town elections, I wanted to give a, from myself and from the board, a thanks to John Gray. Served very well for 3 years, plus all the years he served on the advisory committee and many different committees and subcommittees throughout the years. Did great work over the 3 years, will be missed. And as progression goes, we have a new set of eyes, fresh set of eyes from Mark Elfman, who was successful in winning the election. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start off with citizens input, give you time to get your thoughts together, and then give you an opportunity to thank and say a few words after citizens input.
Thank you.
So is there anyone here from citizens input? And you're back. So we do it every year. It gives an opportunity to say thank you and any thoughts that you might have.
Well, I want to certainly thank all the people that came out yesterday to vote. It was a miserable day, but it was an okay turnout, I guess, from what I understand. Oh no, wasn't a
Nope.
good turnout at all.
It's 90%.
But those that came, certainly well appreciated. Those that voted for me, I think certainly quite a bit. It was a heck of a learning experience, the whole past 5 weeks, but one I enjoyed. Certainly thank my committee for helping me along this process, giving me a chance to learn and giving me advice I needed. Steph, Mark were unbelievable in helping quite a bit. Certainly my family, Linda, my wife, swore that she at no time would be the manager of my campaign, but was there every step of the way, answering phones and doing what needed to be done behind the scenes. And can't thank enough, some of the school kids that Rayanne McGowan helped quite a bit. My son Dylan and his crew of friends and teammates holding signs, rain, coming after school yesterday was outstanding. So, and thank you very much. I'm really looking forward to this opportunity, and here we go.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. And like, I just wanted to quickly echo what Mark had said, but also a shout out to, there were 9 candidates for, school committee and Board of Selectmen. Very positive campaign. Always like the fact that new people are running, new fresh ideas, and it was good to see, new people come in and get involved. but also the kind of unsung people that also ran that were not contested, that their names just don't come up. There was a whole bunch of people that ran for many boards and committees that people voted into, so thank you to them for, again, putting their hats in to the ring. Couple other quick announcements. May 9th, next Monday, is our town meeting, our annual town meeting, and there's close to 30 or 31 articles.
Actually, I think we're down to 29 now.
29, okay. So again, these are the nights that, you know, it's gonna dictate tax dollars spent and processes and things that happen over the next year. So if you get a time to come, please come. As Barry was saying, 19% wasn't a great turnout for the elections, and we're only less than, you know, struggling for quorum at town meeting. It's difficult to move things forward and get consensus easily, so. Anything else you guys want to add for updates?
I just want to echo your comments regarding John. I thought he brought a unique perspective to the board, and we got a lot done this past year and even the year prior, so I want to thank him for his service. And welcome, Mark.
Thank you.
You're gonna
And
go
I
with the
echo that.
flagpole?
I echo that also, but I also want to remind people of hazardous hazardous what's
Waste.
it? Waste Day,
Hazardous waste day.
May 7th. Right?
Saturday?
Isn't
Is
it
that
this
Saturday or
Saturday?
Sunday?
Saturday.
Saturday.
Yeah.
It's always a Saturday.
Saturday, yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. Chris just reminded me the flagpole was removed, it's gone. If you drive by there at night, you see the spotlights going up at nothing. Kind of a weird feeling.
I know.
So this week, hopefully, they're gonna be digging the foundation and putting that in, so. And again, there's a campaign out there to reach out to everybody in town. If you go to the recreation website, there's forms that you could download and fill out, and very simple, who you are, where you live, some thoughts of best and things that are going on in the town, buried in a time capsule at the base of the flagpole, and open it up for 50 years from now. So hopefully the younger generation, most of us will be gone by then, probably. Younger generation be able to open it and kind of see what's going on in their recent past. So, so take a minute to do that. There's a whole bunch of drop-off places around town that you can send it, email it. And I think we're shooting for Memorial Day, May 30th,
That's right.
to have a kind of a ribbon-cutting ceremony for that. Anything else?
How about Town Cleanup Day?
Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say that,
Oh,
yeah.
that's great.
Town Cleanup Day, I think 400-plus people signed up, and I think there was all of that there. And it's nice. It's shout out to A.J. Dooley, Jack Arthurlet, Tina Bellinger, and the committee that put it together. Fish and Game, Jake and Joe's. I know I'm missing a few, but it's just nice to get all ages there. They spread out through town and did a Herculean effort. And
1,400
nice.
bags, I think, were taken in this year, is what I understand.
1,400, yeah.
Which is actually less than last year, though. It was about
Yeah.
1,600 last year. So, as Jack Arthurlet said, he said we're heading in the right direction.
Yeah.
That's a good
Yeah.
sign.
You know, what's even nicer about that is, if you remember this year, we were approached by a group from Mansfield, but it was a national group that wanted to give us assistance to do it on a higher level. And I think we said, you know, graciously, thank you, but we can do this. And you know, it was nice to do it locally, and it worked out well. And one other thing I just remembered, tomorrow morning, there's a contingent of us going to the House and Senate to codify and bring into reality the town meeting warrant home rule petition that we did in the fall for the enhanced reporting and training for the Sexual Abuse Awareness Committee. The state grabbed onto that, and they're looking at bringing that throughout the whole state. So 10 o'clock tomorrow at the House and Senate, we should have a good discussion, and hopefully we bring back some good news. All right, that's it for citizens' input. Anything else? No. I'm sorry, Selectmen's update. Reorganization, we do this every year, Mark. What it is we follow what they call Robert's Rules, and I'll kind of explain this so everyone's on the same page. We have a chairman, a vice chairman, and a clerk. So these three positions. So through chairman, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna ask for nominations for all three. We'll start with the chairman, work through that, then we'll go to the vice chairman, work through that, and then go to the clerk. Anybody can be any position. You as a newcomer could be nominated and sit on any position. any of us can sit in the same positions, or we can switch. I'm going to ask for nominations. They do not need to be seconded, and they don't have to be run by the chairman. So if you have a nomination, say, I nominate so-and-so, I'll follow up with that process. If there's 2 people, whoever gets nominated first, we'll address that. We'll have discussion, we'll vote on it, and then we'll go to the second nomination, have discussion, vote on it, and then move on to the next position. All right? Is that pretty clear? And that's, again, that's Robert's rules. That's what we loosely follow. It's not a bylaw, but it usually works for us. So, and then lastly, as chairman, I'll run, even though the chairman may be changed at the beginning, I'll still follow that process until all 3 new positions are filled. And then we do that uncomfortable moving of the chairs. And then we move on to the next item, and then the new chairman will follow through the agenda items. All right? So at this point, I'm going to ask, is there any nominations for chairman?
I'll nominate Dave Feldman for chairman.
Okay. Okay, and again, that doesn't need to be seconded, so Dave Feldman is nominated for chair. Is there a second nomination? I'm going to ask going once, second nomination going twice, nomination going 3 times. All right, so discussion on Chairman David Feldman for chairman.
A nice ring to it.
Now, from my perspective, and I should have said at the beginning, I'm not interested in being chairman, and there's a lot of work, and I look forward to somebody jumping on it and bringing it forward. You've got 2 years under your belt,
Yep.
and you've handled not only the selectmen stuff pretty well. You're on other committees, and you bring the information, and you're a good what's the word I'm looking for? Facilitator. So I'm very happy for that nomination.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? All those in favor of David Feldman for chairman, raise, all those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed? All those abstaining? So chairman carries 5-0. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Same process.
I think.
That's the good
Good
news. So the second item is nomination for vice chairman.
Nominate Chris Mitchell.
Okay. Chris Mitchell is nominated. Again, we don't need second. Anyone else want to nominate anybody? Going once, going twice, going 3 times. Seeing none. All discussion? Nobody? I'm happy with that, so. Again, Chris, you were attentive to all the roles that you had as clerk, and all positive, so. So call a vote for Vice Chair, Chris Mitchell as Vice Chairman. All those in favor? All those opposed? All those abstaining? Motion carries 5-0. Nomination for clerk. Again, I'll nominate Jeannie Capola if she wants to be clerk.
No,
No?
been there, done that.
Okay.
Thank you.
So the nominee declines.
I'll nominate Mark Elfman.
Mark Elfman's been nominated?
I'll
He got it last year, so don't
Yeah,
feel
yeah,
bad.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're
Okay,
getting rid of it so soon.
Is there a second nomination for, or is there another nomination for clerk? Going once, going twice, seeing none on the 3rd time. All those in favor, discussion on clerk position for Mark Elfman?
So obviously, there's a lot of help involved.
Yeah.
Hey, if I could do it my first year, anybody can, so
Yeah.
don't worry.
Yeah.
Okay.
So in fairness, this is basically, you get these packets every week. The chairman usually sets the agenda with the town manager and assistant town manager and staff. Once in a while, the chairman will send out, we can't discuss the items, but get consensus, or if anyone wants to add it, then the agenda's set. So anything that has public hearings and things, you're responsible for reading it,
Mhm.
and your name will be on as clerk, so you'll be the responsible party in the newspaper.
Okay.
But it's basically, in each year, we kind of have done it differently, but I think last year, the clerk made the recommendations and, what have you, but
Motions.
motions and what have you, but it's not, I think it's a good position for a new person coming in, because you learn a little quicker by doing it.
Okay.
So, you
Are we-
comfortable?
Yeah.
Are we fine with tonight?
Yeah, I
Me
would-
finishing up as clerk, just so, because there's a
So I can
lot.
watch.
There's a lot of stuff.
All right, so
Is that-
tonight you can be double
Yeah,
duty?
is that fine?
That's fine.
Yeah, because there's a lot of stuff
Okay,
tonight.
great.
so-
Yep.
Yeah, this way
Yeah.
you can see what you do.
Yeah,
Okay.
and some of the items that are in this packet, I know you just got it this morning, if you're not comfortable, some are critical path items we need to vote on tonight, but don't feel shy about saying you haven't looked at it, because no sense of voting on something if you just got it today. So we'll let you know what is
Yeah.
critical path and what is the
Okay.
deadline tonight. All right, so that was, concludes the discussion. All those in favor of Mark Elfman being clerk? All those opposed? All those abstaining? Motion carries 5-0.
Congratulations, everyone.
Very good.
Yes.
So we can do the chair moving?
Yeah, if you two just want to
If you
swap
guys want.
chairs,
Hmm?
if you two want to just swap them, we're fine this way, or?
That's fine.
Yeah.
Yep.
I get the big boys.
Thanks for the year, Jim. Now these meetings will be on time. Feldman runs a timely meeting.
Not a heckling seat.
Did
You
you
guys
tell
almost wore
Mark
the same
you have to wear the
uniform
same
today, too.
shirt?
Yeah, you
Usually
almost
I
wore the
have-
same uniform
Yeah.
today.
We've
so-
done that, we've done
Yeah.
that, we've done that before.
Which one's your one? I don't know. Yeah, that one's mine. Let's get the vodka in
Yeah, switch those, yeah.
it. All right, that worked out well.
All right.
Hey, Jeannie.
We're ahead of schedule already, Jim.
Credit for my work as usual.
I just want to say that, you know, I think under Jim's leadership, this past year, we got a lot done, and hopefully we can continue that trend going forward, so just want to
Appreciate
thank you
that.
for
Thank
your,
you.
for your leadership. You want to do some action
Do
items?
The meetings, if you want,
You want to do the meetings?
and then we can go into
Yeah,
action.
we can do that. Take a look at the fiscal year 2017 Selectmen meeting schedule. Has everybody reviewed this? Any conflicts to date?
I don't really see any. It's a little early to tell, but,
I know.
You know, these are subject to change anyway,
yeah.
based on work schedules and things that come up, but
Yeah.
I think on the surface, they look okay.
Yeah, and they're, you know, as spaced out from holidays as they can be.
Yep.
So I'm fine. So I make a motion that we approve the revised Board of Selectmen meeting dates for the remainder of 2016 through June of 2017.
I'll second. Do you require a second?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Recommended and seconded, any discussion? None? All those in favor? Carries 5-0. Still ahead of schedule. Should go to some
Action
action
items.
items.
So some action items?
Yep.
Okay.
So Chairman, with due respect to item number 8, I'm going to ask that the board forego action on that item for tonight,
Okay.
and then we'll revisit that at the next meeting.
Okay. Number 8 is removed from tonight's action items.
All right, so action item number 1 is approval of Board of Selectmen meeting minutes from March 22nd, April 5th, and April 12th. So we'll start with March 22nd. There's a tremendous amount of meeting minutes.
No.
I just had some clarifications on that, on page 21. Rather than Republic Employee Committee, it's public. In the last, second to last line on page 21,
Yeah.
that right there.
Oh, public, and it's what?
Public, not Republic. Yeah, page 23, I believe it should be IT rather than IS. It's in the middle of the page, like, right about there. And on page 25, It's the Mass School Building Authority. It's the third paragraph. It says
Building.
Mass School Building. Yeah.
Okay, on the top of page 23, Mr. Feldman wanted to know what instead of with. Just a typo. It should be and where they are.
And where they are?
Yep.
Oh, I see.
Any other corrections?
Everybody okay with the rest of it?
We're just doing March 22nd.
March 22nd?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
Is that-
So I'll amend my motion. I make a motion that we approve the March 22nd minute meetings as amended.
Second.
Okay, recommended and seconded, discussion? None? All those in favor?
All right.
Carries 5-0.
4-0.
4-0,
Oh,
sorry.
I abstain
Okay,
on this.
yep.
Screwing up already.
All right, the April 5th meeting minutes.
I just had a question about that. In reviewing the minutes, on pages 2 to 3, they had this discussion with Mark Sullivan in regard to what happened at the sports building. I was just wondering, have those issues been addressed? He was asking for,
We went back and we first of all, the comment was made that it was about a 25-minute delay. We actually checked on that. It was about a 10-minute delay
Yeah.
and 2-minute response time.
but he had a number of issues like parking, and he wanted to talk with the planning board, and,
Right,
I mean,
we-
it was a big, so I was just wondering,
I
it said they
raised
were
them
gonna
with
meet.
both planning and police, so,
Okay,
so I'll follow up tomorrow and see if there's any further
Okay.
follow-up on that.
yeah, that was just my question.
Yeah, we did bring it to their attention.
Yeah, okay.
Can we get an update on that for the next meeting?
Sure.
All right.
This is what's nice about these meeting
Yeah,
meeting minutes.
yeah.
You start going, oh, yeah, right, that's right.
Sure.
Any other comments or concerns? Motion?
I think I did make the motion. Make a motion that we approve the April 5th Board of Selectmen meetings minutes.
Second.
Okay, motion made, seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Right.
4-0. Approved.
I wasn't at this meeting, so I'm not gonna make any motion to approve it. The April 12th one.
Okay. Okay, I'll make a motion that we approve the April 12th, 2016 Selectmen's meeting minutes.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Right.
I'm abstaining.
3-0-1.
All right. Action item number 2, Recreation Department. I make a motion, we approve Michael Kelleher to the Board of Recreation as the Conservation Commission representative, expiring on May 1st, 2019.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Carries 5-0. Thank you, Michael, for stepping up.
Council on Aging, number 3, I make a motion we accept the gift donation in the amount of $105
from Anonymous for the lockbox safety program.
I'll second.
Motion made and second. Any discussion? Bill, can you just refresh everybody's memory what the lockbox is?
Yes, it's a program that's been put in place in cooperation with the fire department and the Council on Aging, wherein they've been accepting donations and have been installing lockboxes on elderly residents' homes. So in the event that there's an emergency, that there'll be access into the home to get to the resident, the senior in distress, potentially. So it's turned out to be a great program. It's been very popular. A lot of folks have participated in it.
Great, thank you. Farrah?
Oh, yeah, Barry Duna, Foxborough reporter. I just want to add that we did a story on that in Foxborough about a month ago. And that program is also in place for almost every commercial building
Right.
around the town. So if you see a little box outside an office, including outside our own office, that's basically what they'll be installing in any person's house who wants access to it.
Right, great, thank you. All right, motion made, seconded, any discussion? No? All those in favor?
Okay, number 4, Council on Aging, I make a motion that we accept the gift donation in the amount of $120 from the Friends of Foxborough Seniors to pay half of the Tai Chi class in March of 2016.
I'll second that.
Second, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Motion made, seconded, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, number 5, Hockomock Area YMCA, I make a motion that we approve the annual 5K road race and kids run on October 9th, 2016, from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m.
I'll second
Second.
it. Working out the kinks.
Motion made, seconded, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Number 6, Police Department, make a motion we accept the gift donation in the amount of $30 from Edward and Roberta McIntyre to be placed in the Law Enforcement Drug Fund.
Second.
Okay, motion made, seconded, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
5-0.
You want to go to the...
Yeah, let's go to the public
All
hearing.
right.
Pick up on 7.
All right, I'll read the hearing notice. Board of Selectmen acting as the local licensing authority pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 140, Section 181, and Section 183A, and Chapter 136, Section 4, Town of Foxborough Revised General Bylaws, Article 5, Section 6, and also Stadium Rules and Regulations, will conduct a public hearing on Tuesday, May 3rd, 2016, beginning at 7:30 p.m. in the Foxborough High School Media Center, 120 South Street, to review the application submitted by NPS LLC for the Monster Jam 2016. This event is proposed for Gillette Stadium. Application for this event is on file at the Office of the Selectmen. All interested parties are welcome to attend.
Okay. Hello.
Just
State your name for the record, please.
Jessina, with Gillette Stadium.
George Bell, Stadium Advisory Committee.
So here before you this evening to request the event license for Monster Jam. This year we're requesting Saturday, June 25th. This will be the 3rd year now that we have hosted this event at the stadium. I'll go into a little bit of detail, but there are no significant changes whatsoever at this time to this event from the previous 2 years. We'll continue to operate as we have in the past with a pit party experience that'll begin sometime between 1:30 and 2 o'clock. That'll take place in the East Club lots, and it's a fan experience for fans to come in, see the trucks, touch the trucks, meet the drivers, and then the actual program itself will begin at 7 o'clock. From 7 to 9, the program runs, and it's a highly timed script. This is an entertainment product versus a sport product, so with the exception of any accidents on the track itself, it ends right on time at 9 o'clock. So the production is a Feld Entertainment production. This is the second time we will have had them at the stadium this year. We had them 2 weeks ago for Supercross. Very different products, different events, but it was a really successful event 2 weeks ago. Similar in that they use the same dirt. It's the dirt now that's been housed at the stadium for the last 3 years. It's stored across the street in the P10, P11 lots, and then trucked over. We book a state police detail to facilitate that trucking to ensure that the trucks cross Route 1 safely and onto our property. That load-in will begin on Tuesday and then run straight through to Friday. There will be a practice, which they have had in the past, sometime on Friday afternoon. Usually it's run between 4 and 6. There will be extensive use of pyrotechnics, which they have is a sort of a key piece of the Feld product. Chief Hatfield has always had positive responses, reviews to them. They're extremely buttoned up with respect to all of their operations, specifically their pyro, and it is a really big part of their presentation. From a fan standpoint, we see that this is a big family event. A lot of parents with little ones, usually with little boys. The biggest problem that we have from a customer service standpoint is that the parents will bring children to this event for the first time and they don't anticipate the noise level. And so Feld does field customer service requests for refunds after the fact, because that's the biggest complaint that we get, is that fans will come into the stadium, come into the venue, and they just don't understand exactly the product that they're going to get, and it can be a little bit noisy for little ones. In the past, we haven't had any noise complaints at all from the community. The decibel levels haven't reached nuisance levels, which is great, and the bursts are short when they are noisy, so everything has been smooth from a North Street, from a neighbor's perspective, which is obviously important. I think last year, really the only issue that we had last year was we had a slower entry than what we would have hoped. And that was sort of a twofold problem that we identified after the fact. One being, the first year that we had Monster Jam, we had that fan festival space in the West Club. And they needed a larger footprint for the second year, so we moved it to the East Club. And in doing so, you do restrict your turns coming from the north. So we saw that there was a snarl of traffic headed toward the north because we had cut off that entrance because we were using that space. And also, last year, we saw attendance almost double. So it was a great problem to have. We had higher attendance than anticipated, a lot of day of sales, and as a result, we ended up having more people and a traffic pattern that we hadn't anticipated. Knowing that now for year 3, we'll make sure that we have a traffic plan in place that mitigates that right off the bat. I mean, even it was when I say it wasn't the experience that we would want our fans to have, but it wasn't a traffic backup even to a concert level. But it just wasn't what kind of the experience that we want to put forth. So it's something that's certainly on our radar, and we'll make sure we're ahead of this year. I think that covers just about all of it. George, did I miss anything?
About 20 to 26,000 people? Is that
Oh,
what
yes,
you're still
thank you.
anticipating?
Yes, so we'll do, same as previous 2 years. It'll be the entire lower bowl of the stadium, the 200 level, and the clubs. No sales in the 300 level. We don't anticipate going up into the 300 level. If we ever did, we would certainly talk to the chiefs first, because it requires a different level of scheduled details. And then there's also still that kill that exists. The first 10 to 12 rows are the safety kills that are wrapped all the way around the stadium for an added layer of safety for our fans. So it's almost the first third of all of the sections in the 100 level are covered and blocked off.
Any questions from the board?
No.
Being it's a public hearing, is there any questions from anybody in the audience? Okay.
We'll make a motion, we close the public hearing.
Second.
Okay, motion made, seconded. All those in favor? Okay, public hearing is now closed. Okay, make a motion to,
Do we have any discussion? No?
we don't have any questions.
No, no, okay. I'll make a motion that we approve the Monster Jam for Gillette Stadium on June, what was the date again?
25th.
25th, thank you. I'll make a motion that we approve the Monster Jam for Gillette Stadium, June 25th, 2016.
I'll second.
Okay, motion made, seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Great,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you.
Still way ahead of schedule, though.
Imagine that.
Wanna go back to action?
Yeah, see if we can finish those up.
All right, back to action items. Number 7, Friends of Foxborough Recreation. I make a motion, we accept the gift donation to use the stadium from the Kraft organization for the mother and son dodgeball tournament on May 13th, 2016.
Second?
Motion made, seconded. Any discussion? None? All those in favor?
And number 8 is scratched, so number 9, Blackstone Valley Harley Group. I make a motion, we approve the one-day beer and wine license for their 25th anniversary ride to benefit the Joanne Jeruzzi Foundation on May 21st, 2016, from 2 p.m. to 8 p.m., with a rain date of May 22nd, 2016.
Second?
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, number 10, Recreation Department. Make a motion, we accept the gift donation in the amount of $1,500 from Masonic Angel Foundation, Inc., to be used towards scholarships for Foxborough residents for the Booth Summer Program.
Second?
Motion made, second. Discussion? None? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Masons. Number 11, Recreation Department. I make a motion, we accept the gift donation in the amount of $250 to be used for the annual Touch a Truck Day from the Moms Club of Foxborough.
Second?
Motion made, seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, number 12, Recreation Department. I make a motion, we accept the gift donation in the amount of $2,125 to cover the registration fee for 5 children to attend Booth Summer Program from IGO Cares.
Second?
Motion made, seconded. Any discussion? None? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, IGO Cares.
Number 13, Recreation Department. I make a motion, we accept the gift donation in the amount of $400 to cover the rental of the inflatable movie screen from Bainbridge International, Inc.
Second?
Seconded. Any discussion? None. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, number 14, Foxborough Cable Television Advisory Committee. Make a motion, we approve the appointment of Mark Stopa to the Foxborough Cable Television Advisory Committee expiring May 1st, 2017.
Second?
Motion made, second. Any discussion? None. All those in favor?
All right, number 15, Foxborough Cable Television Advisory Committee. I make a motion, we approve the appointment of David R. Uden to the Foxborough Cable Television Advisory Committee expiring May 1st, 2017.
Second?
Seconded. Any discussion?
Just, he's the guy that announces all the time. He says David Udine, so.
Oh, okay.
He's got that deep voice. He's also the guy with the, you know, that big spotlight at Founder's Day.
Oh, yeah.
The World
Yep.
War II one. So, good guy.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Done for action items.
Okay. Folks here from Red Robin? We can go, we can take that a little early, where it's not a public
It's not a
hearing.
public hearing, yeah.
Welcome.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Andrew Upton, representing Red Robin. If I may continue, what we have here is an officer change at the corporate headquarters in Colorado. One is leaving, and 2 more are being disclosed, and it implicates no changes in the store here, no effect on the floor plan, the menu, any aspect of the operation in the Foxborough restaurant or any restaurant in Massachusetts. It's a corporate filing that the ABCC requires.
So we have 2 votes? Are we doing two separate votes on this, right? The transfer of the license and then the appointment of the manager?
It's not a transfer.
No, that's the next one. You skipped ahead. We're on Red Robin.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Excuse me, sorry.
This is 2 new officers, but I believe it only requires 1 vote.
Right. Okay.
Straightforward.
Yeah, and this is just procedural at the home office, no effect at the restaurant level.
No effect in Massachusetts at all.
Okay.
So I make a motion that we approve the 2 new officers for the Red Robin.
Second.
Okay, motion made, second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. I also have the next one if you want to wait till the official time, or
Yeah, it's a public hearing, we have to wait for that.
Usually have this.
Yeah. I can do my update.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably.
Thanks, Mara.
Push the agenda.
Anything else?
I am the arbiter if you guys all needed.
I don't have a lot to tell you tonight, other than the fact that, there's a lot we've been working on, obviously, but primarily getting ready for town meeting, and in preparation for that, going through a last-minute discussions and clarifications of things, but we've met with the AdCom last week, finalized all our actions with them, and everything seems to be in good shape at this point in time. We're clarifying one item right now, but hopefully it will be resolved by tomorrow. As far as earlier today, I actually met with the YMCA with their leadership task force, where we met to go over looking at various ways we can work together in the community, identifying what the priorities are and issues, social issues that the YMCA can actually help work with us on. So we I thought it was a very good meeting. Representative Barrows, myself, and Vicky Lowe, and Captain Mike Kelleher were there on behalf of the town, talking about the various issues. And I'm going to continue to talk, because it's part of their strategic plan to constantly reach out to the community to find out what's going on in the various communities that they're located. So we met for about an hour and a half, and it was actually a very good discussion about topics that are very, very important to us. One of the things, of course, was the opioid epidemic and ways we can work together on that. We had just met earlier this afternoon with another task force meeting on that, and we're carrying forward the work on that. In that group, we had another presentation today from the district attorney's office. We are planning a presentation, possibly in September, educational session that will be held potentially at Showcase Live, showing a film as well as a panel discussion on this particular topic. So we're all about working on public education, and that was the message I wanted to carry to the YMCA today, was that there's lots of areas where treatment is being done, but the public education piece is still lacking, and that's something that we're going to continue to work on together. So that's our priority right now. I will tell you, though, that the last weekend was public drug turn-in day, and where it was done at the police department. It's the same day as of course spring cleanup, and they had over 300 pounds of drugs turned in, which was triple the amount that they picked up a year earlier. So the word's getting out about that, which is good news. But conversely, on the drug overdose scenario statewide, it's almost touching 1,400 in the past year. So we're very concerned about that. That's a significant increase just in the past 3 years. So we need to do more, and it's a priority in a lot of communities. I know that it's a priority at the state level. It's clearly a priority with us. We're going to do as much as we can to get involved and do whatever we can to educate the public on it. So those are the key items that we're working on at this point.
Mary Beth?
Sure. I have just a couple of things. You're all set. As you may be aware, we posted the police chief job posting. It went live midnight on May 1st, and a copy of the brochure for each of you. So we're doing an online campaign through Mass Police Chiefs, the International Association of Chiefs of Police, Mass Municipal Association. We did a mailing of this brochure to all the Massachusetts police departments. That went out today. So we've already had, it's been 2 days, and we've had a very robust response already. So the job's open, the posting is open until June 1st. So I anticipate quite a few resumes from all across the land, and several phone inquiries. So I think we're well on our way. And concurrent with this process, we'll be issuing an RFP this week to look for a consultant to help us with the end of the process, the assessment, the 2-day assessment center that we discussed at our last meeting. That would be held prior to recommending candidates to the board and before the names went public. So I'll keep you updated on that at the next meeting.
If I could just add just one bit of information for everyone. One of the things that I've been focusing on trying to do was to get an evaluation of the department as the current department stands, and have an outside person come in and look at it. Not in any way to be critical, but to give a sort of state of affairs, current affairs, and to provide the new chief a roadmap, so to speak, a set of priorities and issues that the department needs to address over the next couple of years. I actually took this approach in my previous position and found it to be very helpful for the chief. And also looking at the organization to see what other recommendations that might come out of that. It's good to have an outside set of eyes, and then also to provide the new chief a document that they can work off of, so they can understand clearly what the important issues are for the department. So that's something we're focusing on trying to get in place at this point.
We're going to have the opportunity to interview the finalists, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Will we have access to that document that you're talking about, so that we have an idea of
We should
what-
have it by then. I would think that it's not
So
going
we
to take
can-
that long.
So
Yeah.
we can have it
Sure,
this one?
I think the timing would probably work out.
yeah.
Yeah,
What is the scenario going to be going forward? For example, so cutoff is June 1st.
Yep.
What happens then? A cut down, I'm sure? Who
Right.
cuts
So
we when do we get involved?
Just to give you an idea, we set out a timeline, and I'll email you a copy of it tomorrow, but just
Oh,
to
thank you.
give you an idea, we posted the job on May 1st. Concurrently, we'll be issuing the RFP for the end of the process assessment center with a private consultant. But in the meantime, myself, Bill, and David, the chair of the Board of Selectmen, or his designee, will be screening the resumes when they, at the conclusion of the posting period. Then we will conduct phone interviews. At this point, we have 80% of our candidates at this point. Early candidates are from out of state, so I know, we'll get the local candidates. We'll begin to apply as the process gets late, as we get later in the process. Local people don't like their names to be out there too long. Although we do, we are going to keep it confidential until the last moment. We'll then convene, after phone interviews, phone screens, we'll convene an interview panel to be determined. We'll probably have a concurrent process with some public safety experts in one room and town department heads, member of the Board of Selectmen, committee people in another room. We'll run the candidates through both interviews. The 2 interview panels will come together for a consensus decision on who should go to the next step. The next step would be the assessment center. We're hoping at that point to have no more than 6 candidates at that point, to have a 2-day assessment center with a consultant, private consultant running the process with experienced assessors. They're usually retired public safety folks or town managers and such. And then they will make a determination of who the recommended finalists are. And at that point, we would bring them to the Board of Selectmen, and it would go public. The names would be public.
So it's not public until the last three?
No.
Okay.
No.
That's right.
Okay.
We guarantee, well, we try to guarantee confidentiality. We're using an online applicant tracking system that's new to the town this year. So really, there's not a lot of paper resumes floating around. It's all one password protect. Right now, myself, I have the only password. Bill will be able to review them, and then the chairman also online once the posting is closed. So that's how we plan to. The chief is leaving on September 30th, so we plan to have the candidate in place hopefully September 15th. So we have a timeline mapped out,
Sure, yeah.
and hopefully the timing will work.
Can you refresh our memory how the consultants are selected for the assessment center?
So the town would issue an RFP, which would go out to, we would post it in the Mass Municipal brochure, and it would also go out to anyone who's listed as a consultant who does this type of work. We would tell them what the scope of services are that we're looking for: 2-day assessment center, 6 or 7 exercises, you know, a variety of, you look at the competencies that we're requiring for this police chief, and there'll be exercises that will assess those competencies. And then at the end of the 2 days, the consultants score and recommend. So the RFP will go out, we'll require that it comes back in, and then we have a very specific purchasing requirement where we have to rate the assessments, the consultants' proposals, from highly advantageous down to, you know, not acceptable. And based on the selection of the criteria, how they responded, how their price is, what, you know, what their protocol is. If it meets our needs, the one that closely meets our needs, then that's who we would select. And you send a letter to them and you contract with them.
So that's a whole process on
It
itself.
is. And fortunately for us, Marcia has just completed the purchasing, all the certified purchasing courses. So she's working hard on issuing the RFP. She has a network of people that, her classmates that have helped her with that. And Bill and I have both been through this process quite a bit, so we're gonna work with her on the RFP.
There aren't a lot of consultants that do that work, so we expect maybe to get 3 or 4 at the most.
Yeah, I'd say there's probably less than 10 that
Yeah.
do this all the time. In Massachusetts, probably 3 or 4.
Yeah.
But we wouldn't preclude an out-of-state
Right.
person. There's a lot of local communities are using consultants from outside that are doing a fine job.
Good.
So that's what's going on with police. We're also working hard on a compensation study with a consultant that we contracted with. It's part of our steelworker negotiation to reopen the collective bargaining agreement for FY17. We're doing a study of all the job descriptions and of all the positions to create a new compensation plan. The consultant's gonna work on the compensation piece, and I've been doing the job descriptions, one-on-one interviews with the employees, and so that's gonna be about a 6-month process. We're in month 4 right now of it, so we do anticipate by July I'm gonna meet with the consultant next week, and we're gonna start putting a plan together, finish wrapping up all of the job descriptions, and then roll it out, reopen negotiations in July. So that's been a big project coming, and it's been really very valuable to meet with everybody about their jobs and talk to them about it. So we'll keep you posted on that. And then finally, as Bill said, we're dealing with the final steps on the warrant and town meeting prep. And then after town meeting is over, the real work starts. We have to implement the terms of the contracts, make sure that people are compensated correctly, and so I work closely with accounting on that. And we also need to follow up on the implementation of the new personnel bylaw if it is accepted at town meeting. So then all the policy development will begin for next year with that as well, or continue. We've done a lot of policies already. So
And
that's
for
where we're at.
And for those interested in knowing more about the dog park, process. That's gonna start after town meeting. I'll be making a recommendation at the next selectmen's meeting. With that.
Are you gonna have, regular meetings,
I am.
monthly?
I think we
You're gonna
probably,
start off
yeah, we
slow,
could
or-
probably start off a little slow and then pick up the momentum as we get further along. I mean, it's hard to meet during the summertime, but it's hard to get people together. That's the challenge.
Any update on the 911 process with
The
respect to
regional,
that
yeah,
path?
regional dispatch, we've been working pretty hard on that process as well. I actually, we are gonna have a meeting here in Foxborough on May 23rd of all the communities. And I've actually reached out to the local dispatchers as well to see if they have an interest in attending the meeting to watch the process that we're putting forth, identifying all the issues and identifying how the process is gonna roll out.
When's that meeting gonna be?
It's gonna be at the public safety building.
No, it's at the
Oh, they
library.
they're right, there was a conflict.
We had a
We're gonna
conflict.
move it to the library, you're right.
Do you have
Thank
a
you.
time?
10 o'clock?
10 o'clock.
I think it's 10 o'clock, yeah.
Is
We can we can send you
Yeah.
an email with the notice.
Is that in response to the letter? that
Yes.
we-
And I did respond
We
to
should
them as well.
probably post that in case the board wants to go.
Send them a letter to that effect.
Right,
Anything else?
that's it.
Song, dance?
We can actually, this is.
No time.
Town hall,
Already had
going,
this open, so-
going well, the new construction?
New construction is
Meeting this
going well. The good news, I didn't find any ledge out there, which is a plus. We're having weekly construction meetings. The next one will be held tomorrow, and weather, of course, is not helpful at this point, but it's not stopping construction either, so. Steel should be in, steel, the steel should be starting to go up sometime in July, if anybody's interested in knowing that. And this reinforcing steel for the footings and for the slab is gonna be starting to go in this week, next week.
Did I hear they hit the foundation of the old school or an
Well,
old town hall? Or?
There was part of there was an old stone foundation in the ground which they removed, but there was also some rubble from the previous building that burned down.
Oh, okay.
So and it was concerned that they thought it was coal at first, but it was actually just the burn debris from the building.
Yeah, we were concerned about that in the town hall working group, and we did some test borings. We didn't hit anything. Obviously, it's like finding a needle in a haystack when you're
Right.
doing borings, but
Yeah,
glad
so
it
far it's
doesn't,
going
glad it didn't
good.
impact the frost walls for the.
Yeah, we actually you always carry extra money because you never know if you're gonna hit a ledge, but so far it's worked out pretty well.
Okay, being 8 o'clock, we're gonna continue the public hearing for Trader Joe's.
But I don't need to read it into the record if it's already been opened, right?
It's quite just the continuation of the previous hearing.
Okay.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Andrew Upton for the applicant. With me is David Ford, the proposed manager of record and also the current manager of record.
So this is a transfer of license to a new entity.
That is correct. The license is currently held by Trader Joe's East, Inc., and because of some corporate restructuring, in conjunction with the ABCC, we have determined that it makes sense to transfer the license to another Trader Joe's company. So it's going from one bucket to another bucket. And just like my previous presentation, there are no changes at the store of any kind, and there's no changes at any Trader Joe's in Massachusetts. In fact, because the ABC publishes the forms as they do, we have to reappoint the manager, but he's the same manager who started here when the store opened 4 years ago, so nothing's going to change there either.
But we do have to have two votes.
Yeah, 2 votes.
Yeah.
Yep. And the reason for reappointing the new manager because it's for the new entity, correct?
Yeah, anytime you have a transfer application, you're appointing the manager along with it. So if you bring your own guy, you appoint him. If you take the old guy, you have to appoint him too.
Okay. Any questions from the board?
This looks pretty straightforward. I make a motion that we transfer the liquor license from Trader Joe's, Inc. to LLH LLC.
It's a public hearing, I guess. See if there's-
Oh, sorry,
Mm,
jumped
okay.
ahead of you.
No questions from the board? Seeing that it is a public hearing, is there anybody in the audience that has any questions or concerns? Seeing none?
Make a motion that we close the public hearing.
Correct.
Second.
Second.
3 seconds makes a sixth.
Okay, motion made to close the public hearing, seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Right.
Okay.
All right, so again, I make the motion that we transfer the liquor license, package store license from Trader Joe's East, Inc. to LLH LLC.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Right.
Okay.
And then we need to make a motion for David Ford to be the manager of
Right.
that. Okay, so I make a motion that we approve David Ford to be the manager of the liquor license for LLH LLC.
Second.
Motion made, seconded. Any discussion? This is usually where I chime in regarding Fox Cares,
Yep.
but knowing that Trader Joe's is a regular attendee of Fox Cares, I don't have to go into that.
Okay.
So, motion made, seconded. All those in favor?
Right.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's another public hearing. The historical people there? Time for that?
Yeah.
Yeah, there, yeah. Squeeze that in.
Paul, do you want to go early? Okay. Why don't you come up? Hi.
Basically let Taylor do most of the talking since this is his project.
Okay, for the record, can you
And,
just, for the record, can you just state your names?
My name's Paul Golden. I'm, I forgot what I was, lifetime historic commissioner. And,
Taylor Ford, Historical Commission. I live on 33 Putnam Road.
Welcome.
The reason we're here this evening, I sent a letter to everybody. Hopefully you've had a chance to read it. We've been going through some of the artifacts that we have at Memorial Hall. And in going through that, we discovered that we have quite a collection of Native American artifacts. I brought with me a box. Would you like to look at these while we're talking about it? You can get an idea of what I'm talking about. In 1986, the commission was given a collection that was made up from two collections, a Bristol collection and a Boyden collection. Mr. Boyden is a Foxborough resident. He actually lived in New York for most of his working career, but he was a collector of historical items, a lot of which consisted of Native American stone objects, consisting of arrowheads, spearheads, clubs, knives, everything made out of stone. And he put his collection together by buying smaller collections from other people. So when he came back to Foxborough after he retired, this was about 1908, he brought his collection with him. He then passed away in 1916. His widow lived on until 1943. At some time between 1916 and obviously 1943, Mr. Bristol, Benjamin Bristol, purchased all of Mr. Boyden's artifacts. So we have a collection called the Bristol-Boyden Artifact Collection at this point. In 1986, this collection was donated to the Historical Commission by Mr. Bristol through his son, William. And at that time, the commission had plans for displaying most of the collection. But there's so much to the collection. There's over close to 1,500 items, small items, mostly arrowheads. So at Memorial Hall, a display case has been set up, and it's been there for many years, containing over 100 items from the collection. The remainder of the collection, from time to time, has been put on display. In 1990, it was put on display at the Boyden Library. We had acquired a former jeweler's rotating case. Points were put into the case so it would circular motion and people could come in and watch and see the points going around. So several hundred points were displayed at that time. After that, the collection was brought back to Memorial Hall. Everything was put together in boxes and pretty much ended up in the basement. So this summer, past summer, at our meetings in July and August, we began to discuss items that we had in storage, and we came up with a discussion of the artifact collection to decide what will we do with this collection. We don't have the space at Memorial Hall to display this many items. This whole collection actually belongs in a museum that's devoted a huge section of their display area to Native American artifacts. So at that time, we decided to send out a letter to 5 different area museums. We sent it to the Robbins Museum, which is in Middleborough, which is connected to the Massachusetts Archaeological Society. We sent it to the Peabody Museum in Salem. There's a Robert S. Peabody Museum in Andover, which is connected to the Phillips Academy, and the Fine Arts Museum in Boston, as well as there's another Peabody Museum of Archaeology and Anthropology at Harvard University. The only one who was willing to give us some positive response on this was the Peabody Museum at Harvard. So at that point, getting a favorable response, I sent them pictures that I had taken of the artifacts in the basement in boxes, just piled in boxes, no particular order. They looked at the pictures, they decided that this was something they were interested in. They do have a sizable collection and display area at the university in Peabody Museum. When they got back to us and said that they were interested, they also decided they would like to come to Memorial Hall and view the collection. Now, before this happened, before they came, Paul and I spent several weekends and sometime during the week in the basement at Memorial Hall cataloging the entire collection. A lot of the items in the collection have a number on them that Mr. Boyden applied because he kept a ledger, which we found a copy of. We didn't find the original ledger, but we did find a copy of his original ledger, which listed the item number, basically where it was found, and who might have originally owned the collection before Mr. Boyden bought it from them. So in doing this, we've discovered that the collection contains items from 31 states. So this is not a Foxborough-related collection. The display case at Memorial Hall contains what we feel to be items related to the Foxborough area. Foxborough, Rentham, Plainville, any of the towns, Sharon, that we could pull out from the original collection that were found in this area. So those are going to stay at Memorial Hall in a permanent display case. The remainder of the items that Paul and I cataloged are now in boxes in particular order. We've created boxes so that we know where item number so-and-so would be if we wanted to find it in a hurry. And we showed this entire collection to two archaeologists from the Harvard Peabody Museum who came to visit us on January 26th. They looked over the collection. They took some pictures. We sat and talked with them for about an hour and 15 minutes or so. They went back and talked to their acquisition committee, and they came back to us and said that, yes, we are interested. We'd like to obtain this collection. So this is a donation from the Historical Commission to the Peabody Museum at Harvard University, where they have the facilities to properly display, as well as they're going to use these artifacts for teaching purposes. They have quite a few students in Harvard, obviously, studying archaeology. With points from all over the country, this gives them a great opportunity to try and learn how to recognize a point from a particular era. When you break down the Native American archaeology in the United States, there are 9 phases dating back 12,000 years. Some of these points are close to 8, 9, 10,000 years old. Basically, that's where we stand at this point. We felt that because of the size of the collection and the fact that it's something that we haven't done a lot of at the Historical Commission, we'd like to present the whole project to the Board of Selectmen, give you an idea of what has been going on at Memorial Hall. We put together 2 booklets. This is a loose-leaf 3-ring binder that contains all of the documentation that we have put together from newspaper articles, from photographs, the Excel spreadsheets that Paul and I put together containing documentation about the points. This will stay at Memorial Hall. Anytime you want to look at something in the future, this will be there in the office. I also created a hardcover book which contains pictures, basically, as well as the newspaper articles that these are what some of the points looked like when they were in the basement, some of the larger items. And then the smaller items, these are all fairly good size items. As you can see, they were just piled in boxes. You can see the little red, or actually the white tags on each point. Some of these have numbers, and we were able to match the numbers with Mr. Boyden's original collection. We also put them into state categories. These are all points from a particular state on each one of these charts. So this will also be available at Memorial Hall for future reference for people who might want to look at this, as well as school children, because each of the 3 elementary schools in the town sends their 2nd grade students to Memorial Hall once a year for a tour. So this will be available for the tour. They can look at the display case that we have. It's got plexiglass in front of it, so they can't take anything out, but they can look at it. And then they can look at some of these things. I also have put together a smaller box where I've taken out 1 or 2 points from each of the 9 phases that we've considered archaeological phases, so that they can see how the point shape or size changed through the years, right up until the contact period when Europeans began to contact with the Native Americans. Anything else that you want to know?
It's fascinating.
I think, I'm not sure, the family has been contacted, by the way, and they were informed as to what we intended to do. And they are in agreement with what we intend to do. And of course, we're going to keep the items that are within the vicinity. And we also have representation from all New England states that we're going to keep. So I think we have a good representation. We're going to have about 175 of the items that will be retained. So, but we'd like to see this taken out of the basement because it's doing absolutely no good. It's been there for as long as I can remember. And I've been on the commission since '96, so
put to good use.
Obviously, there was a lot of work put into cataloging all those items. Bill, there's no,
No, it's
No need
here
for
to
the board.
inform the board but they can actually take this action. We did review this with town council, and it's their action to take, so.
Thanks for all the work, like Dave said, cataloging it.
Thank you.
The books and binders and keeping the history of this area still in this area.
I believe Taylor was a student in that range when the collection first came about. And when the commission at that time was making inquiries about the items, Taylor was involved, and shortly thereafter, he became an associate member. So he's been a member for a long time with the commission, so.
Great.
And he's the one that replaced me last year, so.
At the Harvard Museum, will it be credited as the Boyden Bristol collection
I think
from
that's what we-
Foxborough, Massachusetts?
That's what we wanted to do.
We'd
We
like to
definitely
have it that way. See, the reason we're here tonight is because we haven't gotten back to the Peabody Museum officially.
Mhm.
They know that we're interested in donating the collection, but we told them we had some little paperwork we had to do here. And we want to find out from them what is their next step, whether they have forms that they want us to fill out or forms that give us some credit for sending this to them and how they're going to display it and so forth. We'd like to go through that process, but we want to make sure that the town is aware that this is going to be taking place as a donation. We're not expecting to receive money for it.
Mhm.
But we think that the collection is valuable enough. We don't want to split it up. We don't want to auction it off. We want the items to stay with the ledger that Mr. Boyden created, because it gives them documentation, which is very important when you're dealing with artifacts, especially Native American artifacts that buy and sell on the black market. This is not black market. This is obviously documented items that we can tell them exactly where it was found, who found it, as we have a ledger created by the man who collected the items. That was the most important part, I think, of this whole project.
Great. Question? Taylor and Paul, thank you. You tremendous amount of work on this. When the letter came to us, I think we were, we understood what it was. You were asking for if we had any concerns or questions, and we talked about it, and I wasn't in a position, so that's why we put it in front of the board, and also the ability, if it's in front of the selectmen, it goes out to the whole town, so everyone has an ability to see what you're doing and have questions. So if it could be a little bit of a process where you can wait and see if other people in town have suggestions or concerns. That's what this forum helps with. Out of my league of intelligence of what you're doing with it, but the questions I had, I went to Jack Arthurlet and asked his opinion, and he pretty much echoed what you had said of it's the right thing to do. We don't have the capabilities to show it the way it should be shown for the betterment. But the question I had for him, and I kind of still have it in my mind, if you look back what happened in North Attleboro a few years ago, someone donated a painting, the Afghan painting, and lo and behold, they found out it was worth over $1 million, and it started this whole train of, do we sell it, do we keep it, who gets the value of it, does it go back to the person that donated it? Is there a monetary value on this? If so, when it goes to Harvard 5 years from now, if they decide to sell it, do we get first right of refusal, or are we out of the picture? Or that mindset of what if it leaves Foxborough and doesn't become a display for the purposes that you want it to be for education and enjoyment? Do we have any rights to that afterwards?
At the present time, we don't have any rights. We haven't worked out any agreement with the Peabody Museum. If you think that's a concern, I can mention that to them when we get back to them. We don't have a value.
Is there a way to get an appraised value? Because I'm sure that when they're looking at it, they know what the value is. Do we have any idea what the value would be?
No.
It would be very difficult to.
I think it might be a good idea to, and I'm totally at a different level than you guys, but Is there a way to appraise it before we get too far and give them an answer, and it leaves Foxborough?
We're not the ones that are going to do the appraisal. It's not in our,
But is there somebody that could do an appraisal that you know of?
somebody could do an appraisal, but it's not the commission's responsibility to get into that, as far as I know. At least that's what I remember in our regulation. Ginny used to be a member of the commission at one time, maybe. You remember things like that, I don't know.
In following Jim's thoughts, could there be a condition that if we donate it, they cannot sell it? They would have to keep it? I
I
mean, is
think we
that,
could put something in like that, and then
Or if
we
it
could
was
put
sold,
in,
it would have to be returned to the town.
it would be
It's the
returned to
town's
the
possession.
town if they decided not to, not to retain it
That
for
way
the
the value wouldn't
purposes
be an
it was
issue.
intended for.
Yeah, and I think Foxborough's done that in the past with things that are displayed around. If it ever goes in a way that it's not for display, it's kind of like right of first refusal, but it comes back to the town for our
We can
ownership.
certainly do that.
Yeah.
And it's things that we've done with other towns around us, that we acquire items, we accept them from the individuals with the condition that we may turn them over to the proper town. We've done that constantly, and other towns have done it for us. So we get Foxborough items, which we're interested in, and they get, say, Norton or whatever items. So we're very flexible that way. And then we did just deaccession the item and indicate where it's gone. So we could certainly put requirements like that in the.
Yeah, I think there's different ways to structure the deal. I mean, you could go as far as having them display it on loan versus actually donating it to the museum. So there's different ways to do it, and that way, if you do it on loan, we retain all the rights to the artifacts.
So I think the dynamics is that you hate to see it in the basement where it's, you're struggling with the climate and humidity and what have you, because I know you've had issues with other stuff that's in the basement. But looking back where, the Bristols or the Boydens purchased it, and then got to this point, and then just to give it away without getting some type of independent appraisal.
And it
You know,
was a
maybe as
donation.
something like
It was
that.
a donation, so, but we did discuss it with the family,
Mhm.
and they're in agreement with what we're doing. We're retaining what is part of Foxborough and the surrounding towns. And we have a few special items that we're retaining that they're not getting, that are not, they're unique in their way, so we felt that we should keep those. Those have been on display for as long as I can remember.
Okay.
So I think, how do you want to handle this? Do we want them to proceed and try and work out an agreement and then bring it back to the
We can
board?
work with them to try and figure out the terms of an agreement.
Okay, that'd be great.
We can do that.
Mr. Chairman, to be clear, this is not our,
Right.
it's not our vote, and it's
their
not our,
action, right.
it's
But
your
I think
action.
it's a
Yeah.
recommendation that they,
Yeah.
Right.
that you do, that you try to work out the terms of an agreement with Harvard.
Because when you have a museum, you want to be able to show all the items that you have. And this is something we just haven't been able to do, and there are a number of other items. If we had a larger facility, that'd be fine, but
It's understood.
Yeah.
you don't want to spoil the Memorial Hall.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thanks
Thanks,
so much,
Sean.
guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, so we'll open up the public hearing. Board of Selectmen acting as the local licensing authority pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 138, will conduct a public hearing on Tuesday, May 3rd, 2016, beginning at 8:15 p.m. in the Foxborough High School Media Center, 120 South Street, on the application of a new license for Caldwell Management, Inc., doing business as Hilton Gardens Inn at Patriot Place, 27 Patriot Place, Foxborough, Mass. Manager Scott Liebman.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
State your name for the record, please.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board, Karen Simeo, McDermott, Quilty, and Miller. To my left, I have Mr. Lieberman, who is the proposed manager of record. Also with me, I have a corporate representative as well as one of the consultants who currently is a manager at the Renaissance next door, same ownership of the company, but has really been helping us develop the plans to marry these two properties.
So, Bill, this is an available,
Yes, we have
beer and wine
two
license?
beer and wine pouring licenses available, so, at the present time, and they're requesting one of them. Were you planning to talk about the use of the liquor license on both properties tonight?
I certainly can address that. You mean the contemplation of trying to
Right.
use one at both. So one of the, what Mr. Keegan is referring to is we had explored the possibility and as to, since Cowlin Management owns the adjacent property, we were exploring the possibility of utilizing one license to cover both properties. Unfortunately, at this point, we've reached a dead end with the ABCC due to the fact that, as the board knows, properties need to be contiguous as well as adjacent in order to utilize one license to cover both premises. It would be great if we could do that, not only from our business perspective, but of course not tie up a license from the town. Right now, we can't do that because of the very public way in between these two properties, even though it's not a lot of space. That public way, which is, of course, Patriot Place walkway to get into the area, prevents us from the physical connection that is required for both of those properties in order to even begin a discussion with the ABCC about utilizing one license for both properties. I will say that we would very much like to proceed with this application and have the board consider the application for the new license. And, you know, down the road, if legislation allows us to make some sort of change to that, we would certainly be open to that. Our preference, frankly, would be a full liquor license. This is a malt and wine only license, so we're applying for what's available. If we were able to use that singular license to cover both premises, that would be another advantage. It's just not possible as the statute exists today for us to do that. So the application as it stands is for the standalone hotel. I know that the board is familiar with the applicant, Cowlin Management, who currently own and operate the adjacent hotel. This, of course, and you know, we have to do this because we're here and it's a public hearing, and I know that the board is aware more than anyone else as to the public need for additional hotel space and the service that accompanies that. And that's what we're really talking about here today. When we look at the factors under the Ballerin case, we talk about needing to meet the public need and common good and what that means and the factors that are considered. And of course, one of the primary factors is the character and fitness of the applicant. And the nice thing about this application is it's not a surprise. The board has a track record with this particular applicant and their operation. Another one of those factors is the concept and its appropriateness at a particular location. So certainly the hotel operation, including food service, at this location seems to make a lot of sense. There continues to be a need as more and more people are drawn to the town, both for the residents in town and so many people that come in at this point to visit so much of the development that has been the product of the hard work of this board and the rest of the folks in town. So that need continues to increase. It's interesting, one of the factors also deals with traffic and noise, and having been to the board before and knowing the concerns revolving around traffic, some of that stems from there not being enough rooms for people to stay. The current hotel is sold out on a regular, very regular basis, and this will alleviate a lot of that. And so we're excited to be able to offer that and to continue the relationship that we've built with Foxborough. And we really see it as a partnership and being a real significant part of the community and wanting to continue to participate in the community. Just by way of reference, and I know it is in your materials, it's 136 guest rooms, and then meeting and function space, as well as the restaurant and lounge area with some additional seating as well. So in terms of and I know that there are copies of the plans in the package, but in terms of the plans and what they set out for seating, the meeting room space would allow for 210 seats, and of course, that's functions, meetings, as need is determined. And the restaurant and lounge area is 143 seats, which of course are static. Those will be there, whether or not there's a special event. There's also the outdoor space, which is a nice addition to the property, both for pre-function area as well as standard outdoor seating. And those total 105 seats out there, which will, if it ever warms up, will be a very nice addition to enjoy being outside and enjoying the weather. Mr. Williams, again, Mr. Lieberman, in the package as the proposed manager of record, has extensive experience in the hospitality industry. Again, this is not a standalone project with just this manager of record. Cowlin Management, Inc., as the licensee, continues to be the active corporate representative. Mr. Williams, who is here and who is at the Renaissance currently, as I said, has played a significant role in really establishing these plans based on what he has seen as the need currently in participating in the current hotel. And I think you'll find that these two projects will very much be working hand in hand with one another.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from the board?
Quick question, clarification. One of the newer board members, having been on the board now for exactly 23 and a half hours.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're in good company.
I know that. So both hotels, the Renaissance and the Hilton, are owned by
The same company.
the same company?
The license is held by Cowlin Management, Inc. currently
Okay.
for the Renaissance, and that same entity is applying for this license.
For this license?
Which is not uncommon. That same entity owns licenses in Framingham and Worcester and Chelsea, and they're in the hotel business. That's what they do.
Okay.
And they do it well.
And the Renaissance now has a beer and wine license?
They have a full liquor license.
Oh, they have a full liquor
Yes.
license, okay.
Yes, they have a full in-holders license.
Just for the board's edification, at one time, there was some discussion with Colin to look at the possibility that if the buildings could somehow be connected, and I think there was some effort to try and achieve that if they could be connected physically, the ABCC has ruled in the past that you only would need one license for both properties, since they're owned by the same company. So they had explored that possibility, but apparently they couldn't reach that agreement, or that design factor. So as a result, they're here before you for a beer and wine license. You know, while it'd be nice if they had a full liquor license, they don't really need one because they have one right next door. So they have a full alcohol license to be used next door. So this is more of a convenience factor. The Hilton Garden Inns typically, if you check them, typically operate on a beer and wine license type of format because it's more of a travel type hotel as opposed to a full service hotel. They offer a lot of amenities, a lot of great amenities, but they're, if you were to look at hotels in terms of rating them, this is like a three-level hotel versus a 4-star hotel, a 3-star hotel. So it's a step down. It doesn't offer as many amenities as perhaps the Renaissance does. So so I understand that the request, and it would have been nice if they could connect the two, but it's, obviously would save us a license. But having said that, that's not inconsistent with how Hilton Gardens operate on a national basis.
Any other questions on the board?
You had said earlier if there was a full liquor license, you guys would want one.
Well, what I was suggesting is that because the adjacent property has a full liquor license, that would have been an additional benefit to our being able to use that one license to cover both properties.
Right.
It's not, and as Mr. Keegan noted, this operation is sustained typically nationwide on a malt and wine. It's not that there is a need per se for this concept. It's just that if there had been the ability to use one license for both locations, it would have been an additional bonus for.
So, what I'm saying is, if one became available, would you consider applying for a full all alcohol one?
I
or
think
are you
that
fine
would
with
be
beer and
need,
wine?
that would be need driven based on the hotel once it's up and operating. Again, across the country, that's not what we see as the demand, but if the demand in Foxborough is a different one, we would come to you and say, this is the demand. So I can't speak to what will happen in the future. I think that Mr. Key makes a good point, which is that there is a full license right next door for a hotel operation. So I think it would be really need-driven, and it would be a dialogue with the board to see if that made sense.
Okay.
Just one more quick question, too. Mr. Liebman, are you the hotel manager or the food and beverage manager?
Currently, I'm the director of room operations at the Renaissance.
Okay.
And I'm going to be the general manager at the new hotel.
Any questions from the board? Being it is a public hearing, is there any questions from anybody in the audience? Seeing none, close the public hearing.
Yeah, make a motion that we close the public hearing.
Second?
Okay, motion made, second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
No, we're not done. We
No, we just closed the public hearing.
Okay. This is my first one. I'm very sorry.
We got a few firsts here tonight.
Yep. So I make a motion that we approve the beer and wine license for Caldwell Management, Inc., doing business as Hilton Garden Inn.
Second.
Okay, motion made, seconded. Any discussion? I do have a question. When do you anticipate having your C of O, certificate of occupancy?
The C of O or the opening. So we're looking at probably August for the C of O. We were also hoping to have an August opening, but I think that's been delayed to probably September, end of September
Sounds about right.
for
That's the one we've heard.
the actual open, yes.
Okay. Any more discussion? Motion made, seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0. Congratulations.
Now you're good.
No,
Thank you very
Thank you very
much.
much.
We have to
Appreciate it.
approve the manager?
Yep.
Is that in there too?
It's
Okay.
not there are two votes. One is to approve the license, the other one is to approve the manager.
Okay. So I make a motion that we approve Scott Friedman as the manager of the Hilton Garden Inn.
Second.
Seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you.
Now
Good
you're
luck.
okay.
Great.
Have a good night, thank you.
Great
job.
evening. Thank you.
Congratulations again.
Oh, thank you. You guys too.
Yep.
For the record, almost a half an hour early.
For the record, bite me.
Before we close, Bear, you have a list of questions for us before we close the meeting?
You know, I actually don't have a list of questions today. I mean, I'm
Oh.
gonna ask Dave probably after the meeting his thoughts about being chairman, unless you wanna do it in public.
Doesn't matter.
Okay, well, actually, I will.
That'll be fun.
So, Dave, how do you feel about being chairman?
No comment.
Good answer.
Oh, that's great.
Do you think anything's changed on the board since you became chairman? All right, my list of questions is not existing today. You
Best
may-
answer.
All right, I make a motion that we close the Board of Selectmen's meeting.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Good night, everybody.
Thank you.
Good night.
Any things to sign?
Congrats, you made it through the first one. All right.
Was this quick?
No. Well, it might be with a new chair.